The grand jury in the Sean Diddy Combs case. Courtney Burgess, former associate of Kim Porter, that's Diddy's ex-girlfriend, mother to 4 of his children, and unfortunately, the woman we've seen in the video. The allegation, he has seen, that's Cassie, not Kim Porter. Cassie's the one we saw in the video. It's hard to keep them straight, let's be honest. All right, so he has seen, which I think is the key word in this story, salacious videos of Diddy and celebrities engaged in sex acts, including with underage victims. He also alleges to have the unedited version of Kim Porter's diary. True? What's the chance? And if so, so what? We know many lawsuits have been filed against Combs, alleging abuse. Many of them, to this point, have been anonymous. Now, there is a reason that people are often allowed to allege and be anonymous.
Good evening, I'm Susan, and tonight we dive deeper into the mounting allegations against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The case has taken another turn as a new witness, Courtney Burgess, a former associate of Diddy's late ex-girlfriend Kim Porter, testified before the grand jury. His claims, though shocking, are already raising questions about credibility and the direction of this high-profile investigation. Burgess alleges to have seen explicit videos involving Diddy, prominent celebrities, and underage individuals. He also claims to have access to an unedited version of Kim Porter's personal diary. If true, these claims could be groundbreaking. However, critics are casting doubt on his testimony, noting inconsistencies in his story. At one point, Burgess claimed to possess the videos, but later clarified that he had only seen them. Similarly, he implied ownership of Porter's diary, only to backtrack and admit otherwise.
However, a judge ruled that a woman who anonymously sued Combs this month for rape must reveal her name on her lawsuit, or will be tossed out. The lawsuit alleges Combs raped her in 2004 at a party in a Manhattan hotel. She was 19, college student, also allegedly ordered her to perform oral sex, or else he would have them both killed, her and a friend. Otherwise, he would have them both killed. What does this mean for that lawsuit? What does it mean for other ones? All right, I want to bring in one of Combs' former lawyers, Mark Geragos, and a lawyer who represented dozens of victims in the Jeffrey Epstein case, Jennifer Freeman. Good to have you both. Counselor Freeman, welcome to the show. Mark Geragos, what's the smell test on Burgess? Seeing videos is different. You know, I was reading reports online that says he has the videos. You know, very different. Because if he has them, then he has to produce them. Seeing videos.
Legal experts suggest that these contradictions may explain why prosecutors presented Burgess to the grand jury to test the strength of his claims. However, his credibility appears to be faltering under scrutiny. One analyst noted that the so-called smell test for reliable testimony may not have been met, casting doubt on whether his statements will hold weight in court. But that's not all. Another major legal challenge for Combs involves a separate lawsuit filed by a woman who has accused him of rape. According to her, the incident occurred in 2004 at a Manhattan hotel party when she was a 19-year-old college student. She alleges that Diddy assaulted her and threatened her and a friend with death if they didn't comply with his orders.
What would trigger concern of strength in the case?
Well, the first thing is I watched, I believe it was a TMZ tape of this young man, and he was questioned as to whether he knows Sean. I believe he said yes for 30 years. They said, "You've met him?" And he says, "No, I've never met him." Then apparently he before said he had tapes. Then it turns out he's seen tapes, and then supposedly has a diary, but now apparently doesn't have a diary. You know what I think, and I find it interesting that you asked me if it was the smell test. I think the prosecutors think that he failed the smell test. I suspect that the prosecutors brought him in front of the grand jury to run it down because I don't think anybody's buying what he's selling.
Now, a judge has ruled that this woman must reveal her identity to proceed with the lawsuit. This decision has sparked significant backlash from victim advocacy groups, who argue that such rulings force survivors to choose between their privacy and their right to seek justice. Jennifer Freeman, a prominent attorney who has represented victims in high-profile cases like those against Jeffrey Epstein, criticized the ruling, calling it disturbing and disappointing. Freeman explained that laws in New York typically allow victims of sexual assault to file lawsuits anonymously. She noted that denying this protection creates a Hobson's choice, where victims are forced to risk their privacy for the sake of their case. While the ruling is unusual, it sets a worrying precedent for others who may want to come forward but fear exposure.
They should have done that before they brought him on then. Counselor Freeman, let's pivot to this other issue. Of course, you can comment on whatever you want, but the other issue is, what do you make of the judge saying that this plaintiff must say who she is or the suit gets tossed out?
This is very disappointing and disturbing for other sexual assault victims, including this one. It presents a Hobson's choice for her and other victims, meaning she can choose justice or she can choose privacy, but she can't have both.
It's interesting. Jennifer, do you have, because I've had this situation, I've had clients who I give them the kind of that choice, because as I'm sure you advise them, hey, we can file anonymously, but I'm not sure it's going to play out that way. How do you advise a client on that? Because you've done this before.
I've done this many, many, many times. And frankly, it usually works out with an anonymity. Pseudonyms are typically granted, especially in New York, since there is a particular New York civil rights law.
These developments paint a complicated picture of the legal battles surrounding Sean Combs. On one hand, the credibility of certain witnesses and allegations is being called into question. On the other, rulings like this one highlight the difficult journey survivors must face to hold powerful figures accountable.
Section 50B that provides for an anonymity and confidentiality for sexual assault victims. So it is something that doesn't seem to have been addressed in the court's decision. I'm not exactly sure why. But certainly it can be something that goes on, that you might not be able to be have a pseudonym, but you usually get it. Now this is a judge that just recently in the Epstein case also denied anonymity.
My experience is, though, that, and obviously it's anecdotal, but I'm not in the weeds on that particular statute, but I read the opinion, and I thought it was well-reasoned in the sense that, look, if you're going to come here, if you're going to file these lawsuits, if you're going to make these allegations, then there's got to be some way to test it.
Hey, thanks for watching.
As the grand jury continues its proceedings, the public's attention remains fixed on this case. Will new evidence emerge to validate these claims? Or will legal and procedural hurdles overshadow the pursuit of truth? One thing is certain: this case is far from over and could set critical precedents for both survivors and the entertainment industry. We'll keep you updated as this story unfolds. For now, I'm Suzanne, and you're welcome. Stay tuned for more.